Good morning. Welcome to Q and Amaco. I'm Kara. Let me arrange my windows so I see everything. Hi, Christina. You've tuned in. So today I got a question ahead of time, and moment. Let me double check that I can make sure that I get it accurately. But I had a question about refiring and adding more glaze. So Natalie Duff asks about getting glaze onto already glazed ware for refiring. So I'm going to go through some details about firing, but I'm also going to do some glazing today. And hi, Jessica. Jessica asks, are the new glazes, I assume you mean the Cosmos, do they need special firings like Blue Spark? So the Cosmos glazes do not require a special firing, but you can use a slow cool or a crystal glaze firing to get even better results, or if you're wanting to use a liner glaze. I'm still doing a lot of testing. But let me see, I'm going to get started with glazing while I show you guys different things. So this morning I'm going to do some glaze layering on a mug. These tiles are PCF, it says 54, which is the Flux Blossom. Oh, maybe it's both of them. This one is the PCF 74, which is River Birch, over the new SM 24 Seafoam. And I really love the way it came out. So that's what I'm going to do on this mug. I'm going to do just the satin matte on the center portion here, and then I'm going to do River Birch on the whole thing. And you see it does run a little bit, but not a lot. So I'm going to take the River Birch not quite all the way down. So while I'm glazing, I will talk about Jessica. I'm going to talk more about the Cosmos glazes next week, and I'll tell you more about firings with them. Next week is a glazing with Amaco that is 100% dedicated to the Cosmos glazes. And I will have all that info and examples to show you at that time. So this is our new SM24 seaweed, and as you can see, it is a brand new jar. Christina, you say, ooh, that's interesting, but are you talking about the Cosmos glazes, or are you talking about the refiring, or my glazing, or all of the above? So this is a mug that was thrown by David Bunch. He's been doing a lot of experimentation with texture. So he textures these while they're on the wheel and then continues to throw them to produce this twist that you see in the texture. This first coat I'm going to be a little slower than usual because I want to make sure I get it into as much texture as possible. And River Birch does run a little bit. It runs more than the other fluxes. So do be cautious when using it if you're worried about that. Oh, my combo. Cool. Yeah, I really like this. When I saw the tile come out, I thought that was really beautiful. And we do have also some samples with Flux Blossom, but I think that the tile that I have may be mislabeled because it has specks in it like river birch. So I'll have to double check with the person who made the tile. See if they did something a little different. Satin mats dry pretty quickly, especially on this very, very dry bisque. So while I'm discussing this, I'm going to talk a little bit about refiring, answer Natalie's question. So when you refire pieces, reglaze and refire, uh, sometimes there's a little confusion about adding glazes. You only need to add more glaze if the amount of glaze was insufficient to begin with. So if you had enough glaze on there but it just didn't come out right, maybe it didn't uh, reach the heat work that's necessary, then you do not need to add more glaze. But if you're refiring because the glaze didn't have enough coats on there, that definitely you want to add more to it. And it can be really hard to get glaze to stick to a glossy, already glazed and fired surface. So Natalie had said that she uses hairspray, and I know that a lot of people really like using hairspray. But I do not use hairspray myself, so I can't really speak to how it works, but I avoid it. I'm going to stop for a moment. Hi, dear girl. Christina says, I'm into matte glazes. I think I bought Seaweed. Is River Birch a matte? River Birch is a gloss, and Seaweed is a gloss. If you're thinking Seafoam is a matte. So Seaweed is the PC42. Seafoam is Satin Matte 24. So if you like matte glazes, get the satin mattes. But most of the PC glazes are actually gloss glazes. I'm going to sponge out the inside of this while this dries because the inside of this cup is very dusty. We have a shelf of bisqueware, and like most bisqueware shelves, it gets pretty dusty. I'm going to set that aside for a moment, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the refiring thing. So this mug got broken, so you can see that I'm not going to be using it for functional things, but it's a perfect demo for adding more glaze. As you can see, it's a glossy glaze. It has Mixing Clear over this decal, Celadon Mulberry over the entire mug, and then Seaweed just around the outside, not going over the decal, the underglaze transfer. So you can see how Seaweed, that's PC42, Seaweed, not the Seafoam. It's runny. It gives a really interesting texture over the Celadon. I seem to be out of mulberry, so instead I'm just going to use this to demonstrate. This is a little bit of C56 lavender, and I will fire it and show you all how it came out as kind of a test. Now, there's two ways. I have found that most of the brushing glazes will stick if you're just doing one coat. You see how it kind of goes on a little on the thin side. I have to kind of blob it. But if you need to add a lot of glaze, my best recommendation is to warm up your ware. And you can do that just by sticking it in the microwave. What I used to do when I had a lot of pots that needed to be reglazed, for example, one time we had a bisque that went to cone 4 instead of cone 04. And so I turned my oven on extremely low. I think it was maybe 180 degrees, very, very, very low setting on my oven, and warmed up my pots in the oven, and then just took them out and dipped them in glaze. And being warm, it helps the glaze to stick. In this case, because the brushing glazes have gum in them, I can just put it on there. But if this, you'll notice, it is not drying. It is still very, very wet. And it's hard to get a really even coat on there. So keep that in mind too. So I have to be really careful about how I'm applying it. And I'm not even like touching the brush to the pot. I'm really just kind of dropping the glaze on there. Okay, so I will refire that, and you all will see how that works. I'm going to grind those sharp edges down, put a little glaze on there too. Just, it'll probably be a little plant holder, but that's fine. I can drill a hole in the bottom if I want to make it a little planter. And there we go. So the other thing to know about refiring is if you are refiring glazed ware, you should always refire on a slow setting. And now I know that a lot of people don't, and that's fine as long as you're doing okay. Some glazes can cause dunting. They can cause the ware to crack in the firing if you do not fire slowly. You have to remember that the glaze is having to adapt to the expansion and contraction of the clay body, both going up and going down in temperature. And in an initial firing, it only has to adapt to the changing clay body on the way down. So fire slow, number 1. Number 2, warm up your ware to get your glaze to stick. Or you can use a little gum solution. Don't just apply gum solution directly to your ware, but glaze with a gum solution will help. And of course, if you have been using your ware, you may not, like if it's held water, you may not want to refire it because it may have water trapped underneath the glaze. You can, of course, fire it very slowly, and that will help. Hi, Susan. Hi, Sherry. Welcome. So while the glaze on the outside is drying, I'm going to go ahead and put a coat of the river birch on the inside. You notice I just scrape off the glaze that's congealed along the sides. I do love river birch. It does remind me of like melted chocolate chip ice cream. And of course of trees in the wintertime. And today our temperatures have gotten a lot cooler here, so it is a little chilly in our video studio. So I hope that that answers any questions about refiring pieces. If you have additional questions about applying glaze to already glazed pieces and refiring, please just drop it in the comments and I will answer it later. And today's going to be a little on the short side. I'm going to be done with this in just a few more minutes. I'm just bringing it right down to where the satin mat is at the moment because the satin mat is still really wet. You can see I got a little blue on me. So I'm going to let that dry. But this is what I'm expecting it to look like on all the side surfaces. Should be really, really pretty. I think it kind of looks like surf. And then I'll bring it back next week. Don't forget next week, next Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, not Easter time, Eastern time, I will be doing a talk about the Cosmos glazes that are coming out. Many of your distributors have already pre-ordered, and we are anticipating that they will be shipping probably by the end of November. That may change based on a lot of different things. So if you're interested in seeing more about them, tune in on Tuesday and talk to your distributor about getting some in. I know that some places have pre-ordered quite a lot. Christina says, seems like everyone is using river birch in a combo lately. It does seem really popular. It is just like honey flux, except that it has speckles in it. So it's visual texture and really a lot of fun. So I will see you all next week with the Cosmos, and I'll be in the studio on Friday for Clay to Z, and that's at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, so an hour earlier than this stream. And hopefully I will see you all then. I've got a lot of things going on in the studio this week. And thank you all for joining me, and happy glazing, and thanks for letting me share our glazing adventures with you. See you next time.